Hey there, I want to talk about it's not about you, except it is. We're going to craft your expert positioning story to connect you with your avatar. So, back in the Stone Ages, we used to say that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Now, in this exciting, scary era of AI, I'd like to say that people want to do business with human beings. As marketers, and regardless of how else you define yourself, entrepreneur, service professional, business owner, coach, whatever you call yourself, if you're selling products and services, you're also a marketer. As marketers, our job is to show potential customers and clients that we are living, breathing humans who understand their problem on a gut level, not some bot or talking head. They want to know that there's a reason we have the solution that they're looking for, why we do what we do. We can sum up our humanity, the sense that there's a relatable human being behind the curtain, with our stories. As marketers, we tell stories that draw others to us, that allow them to connect with us in our social media posts, in our speeches, in our website copy, in our blog posts, in our newsletters, articles, marketing copy. But your expert positioning story is the true emotional magnet that draws your people to you, that speaks to the specific problem and the solution that you sell, and dramatizes your value system, your worldview. Because before they will buy from you, your avatar needs to discern if they can connect with you on an emotional, philosophical, or even a spiritual level. They need to know what you stand for and the stories that you choose to tell, particularly your expert positioning story. That's what's going to allow them to determine that. Because I'm in the business of writing and publishing expert positioning books, I focus on stories that go into books, in particular, the expert positioning story, which usually lives in the first few pages of a book or the first couple of chapters. I help shape these stories for a living. I'm going to focus on the creation of an expert positioning story, at least the most important part of it, that will better sell your products and services. As a marketer, you always need to be aware of your personal brand, that thing that allows you to distinguish yourself from everybody else in your crowded field. This is your unique humanness. The very thumbprint of your business brand is the expert positioning story. You may hear this referred to as your origin story, or your hero's journey, or how you came up with your brand, or your signature story. But this is the primary story that you are known for in your marketplace. Your expert positioning story will allow you to attract and to do business with those who share your values. So those values must be evident in the story. Those values are also in that story to repel those who don't resonate with you, what you stand for, or how you behave in the world. We want a common worldview to reduce potential friction for all involved, you and them. But before we craft part of this story, I want to touch on some foundational ideas first. Whenever we create content, we need to consider the outcome we're after for ourselves. For marketers, that outcome is usually one or a combination of several things, depending on your primary driver. For this exercise, we're going to assume you want to sell more products and services. We also have to understand the outcome our avatar is after. What specific problem are they looking to solve? What are their needs and desires? What's the biggest result they get when they hire you or buy your product? What are the associated deep-rooted benefits that accompany this desired outcome? What will change for them financially, emotionally, physically? Or even spiritually, will they make an extra $100,000 a year? Will they be able to put down the guilt? Will they fit into a 32-inch waist? Will they develop a sense of deeper purpose? How will they feel? That's the stuff of stories and sales. So that's the end in mind when we start. These are the elements of the expert positioning story in this order. We need your struggle, which your audience will be able to relate to. We need your journey towards the solution to this problem that you struggled with. We need the solution you came up with, a sense that you have a solution, which is the basis of your product or service. We need your successes, how the solution changed your life and the lives of others with the same problem. So I want to give you a few examples of expert positioning stories that you can find in books. Maybe you've seen Jeff Walker's expert positioning story in his book Launch. Here's how I might sum it up. Desperate stay-at-home dad must figure out a way to earn money so his wife doesn't feel like she's carrying all the family burden on her own. Doesn't want to go back to corporate, figures out a way to sell products online. Not only satisfies his wife, but also makes his in-laws sorry they ever doubted him. He's used his framework to make millions and helps others do the same. Julianne Carnes, author of The Abundance Code. From rags to riches and riches to rags, Julie learns that wealth can't be banked on. It's a real live game of snakes and ladders. Get ahead, then you lose it all again. To be accepted, you have to have common financial circumstances. You also can't have money and love at the same time. If you want both money and connection, which is her definition of rich, education is not enough. It's about mindset, money mindset, and a new abundant mindset can be installed. She did that for herself, and she's helped others do that too. Dr. Mary Barbera is the author of Turn Autism Around. A nurse with a toddler doesn't want to hear from her doctor husband that their son might have autism. Refusing to believe him costs them big. By the time her son is diagnosed, it's too late to turn back the clock. She could have impeded or reversed the developmental delays that would have made her son far more functional today. She became an expert in the field of applied behavioral analysis to save other parents from the same fate. Dana Abraham, author of Calm the Chaos. A public school teacher quits her job so she can homeschool her challenging kid who is causing chaos at school and at home. Worried that her kid is going to wind up hurting himself or land in jail or worse, she develops a parenting framework that works for her family. She shares this framework with other families so they can build a safe home and support healthy kids. These authors aren't just telling a random sad story. They're telling a story that sells. If you ask me, Jeff Walker isn't selling a marketing tool. He's selling financial freedom more. He's selling the feeling of being a good provider, someone who has time for their family and doesn't have to sell their soul to corporate to earn a living. The feeling of doing right by your family, providing for them. The ability to prove to those closest to you that you are a hero, not a zero. Julianne Carnes isn't selling a money mindset course. She's selling the ability to be free of your upbringing so you can finally have it all, love and money, without ever having to choose. That feeling of wholeness. Mary Barbera isn't selling a course about eliminating problematic behaviors associated with autism. She's selling peace of mind to parents who will second guess every decision they've ever made if they don't take action early enough. Dana Abraham isn't selling a course to parents of challenging kids to rein in the chaos. She's giving them another option so they don't have to get in their car and drive off into the sunset with guilt forever in the passenger seat. She's selling them hope. You see how compelling that is? That's why we want to understand the feeling that our avatar is after, the spiritual, emotional, physical, and financial benefits they want to enjoy once they get this thing we've created for them with our blood, sweat, and tears. The goal is to understand who your avatar is and what he or she wants more than anything, how they want to feel, and build your positioning story around that. Speak to what it is they want most, the feelings that they're after, while you share with them who you are. In each of these stories, we see real people we can relate to, not bots, not superheroes. Donald Miller, he's the author of Building a Story Brand. He admonishes business owners all the time for making themselves the hero of their own stories rather than the guide to transformation for their clients. He insists we cut the bragging and the resume dropping and the showing our best face to look impenetrable and our 6 PhDs and all of that, and trying to show our best face so we look impenetrable and mechanized or maybe even superhuman. And he's right. That's why the first part of your expert positioning story, the struggle, is so key. It's the key to relatability, and it's usually the trickiest bit to come up with. But your ability to boil that into a scene will give you so much marketing power. So I want to walk you through how to paint the scene. We only have a few minutes. I don't want to load you up with a 2-hour video. So we're going to work on the 80% of the expert positioning story, or the 20% of the expert positioning story that's going to give you 80% of its power. So your people want to know that you've overcome the same challenges that they're facing. They want to know that you've had your own on your knees moment, that horrible moment when you recognize that something had to change, that you couldn't go on the way you had been before, that the status quo is no longer a viable option. If you have never experienced the problem that you help solve, they want to know that someone close to you has, or that you've worked with so many people with this problem that you may have just as well experienced it yourself. That's how viscerally you understand it. It's a horrible moment, a moment that often represents total failure. It represents pain, pain island. This is the personal stuff, the stuff we generally like to hide, not write about, not talk about, because we don't like to admit we haven't had our act together since day one, particularly if we're new in business. But that painful, shameful stuff is actually the stuff that sells. So I'd like you to consider what that on your knees moment looked like for you, or if you've never experienced the problem you solve for one of your clients. Where were you? Place this in a setting. Were you in the living room? Were you in the kitchen? Were you in the boardroom? Were you at the school? What was going on in your head? Oh my God, I can't take another minute of this. I can't believe I'm doing this again. I told myself I never would. What were you feeling? Desperate, angry, enraged, frustrated, confused? Who was with you? Because rarely in these moments of epiphany are we alone. Were you surrounded by coworkers gunning for your job? Were you in the school office when all the teachers were there pointing fingers at you? Were you in your living room when your family is trying to intervene in your behavior? What were you saying? Because what you're saying and what you're thinking are often so different, and the difference creates tension. I got it. I don't know what the problem is. No, everything's fine. What did you see, hear, touch, or smell? Did you hear the sound of the car tearing out of the driveway as your wife left you for good? What did you touch? The dirty blue carpeting against your face as you're laying there sobbing. What did you smell? Did you smell onions cooking in the kitchen? Did you smell that little green air freshener in your car? Place us in that moment with you. Give us these details, paint us a scene, because this is the beginning for both you and your avatar, for your reader. This is the beginning of the journey, that kick in the butt that gets the hero moving. And yes, the hero is you, but the hero is also your avatar, who is right there with you, relating to the pain. If you are over the age of 5, you will have had lots of on your knees moments to choose from, but the moment I want you to choose must be relevant to the big result you sell. This is the defining moment, the beginning of your journey towards creating the one big result for yourself. If you can't think of an individual moment, and a lot of people can't, if you came to the crossroads over time, then you're going to create a composite scene. You're going to take a bit from this scene and a bit from that scene and create a brand new scene. And this represents the feeling that you're after. This doesn't make your story any less true because you're remaining faithful to that moment of despair. You're just making it easier for your reader to follow and to relate to your struggle. If you're in a fiduciary position like a lawyer or a wealth manager, or in a trust position like a therapist, you're going to want to be careful about which personal story you're going to share. You might think, which client scene can you paint that gets to the heart of the issue? Which composite character can you create to represent this person so you don't breach trust? Can you get more personal by sharing some family history that doesn't involve personal shame? Because if you're a wealth manager, for instance, you don't want to tell a story about going to jail because you're part of a Ponzi scheme, because that's not going to go over well. And you're not going to want to do that without a very well thought out reason for doing so. If you're selling a product like a bug zapper, what in your personal history can you use to demonstrate that you understand the relief that this product can bring to you? That you deeply understand the pain associated with bug bites? Move out. If there's someone close to you that may have inspired your desire to create this and sell it, like your mom, give us that person. Maybe she's horribly allergic to bug bites and ends up in the hospital if she gets 3 bug bites too many. Give us that scene. Give us that face so we can relate to it. So does every expert positioning story have to begin with despair or mayhem? No. But your ability to capture what a problem feels like, to really poke at the bear, is going to serve you so well. You must have the other pieces of the story, the expert positioning story, to demonstrate that you have a solution, that the solution works for others too. Without that, your pain story may come across as gratuitous or totally random, or we won't perceive you as an expert with the ability to help us get the outcome we're after. But your struggle, that first part of your expert positioning story, is the very thing that connects you to others because it makes you human. It allows people to know, like, and trust you, to relate to you and what you stand for, why you do what you do, why you sell what you sell. The pain dramatized in that on your knees moment makes you relatable and conveys both the feeling of the problem and the solution. Choose a story that is relevant in order to harness the power. Then create a horrible first draft of your pain story, that on your knees moment that got you or someone close to you started on your journey to solve the problem you are addressing, and then tweak it as you go. This pain story is the key to connection and profit. It will serve as the touchstone for your entire business. And if you do it right, it's going to make you money. Anyway, I want to thank you for allowing me to share my love of powerful stories with you.